Ndewonu ndị Igbo birikwenu. I'm honored to speak at this 10th Igbo conference and immensely grateful to Dr. Louisa Uchum Ebunike for the invitation. I must say that by virtue of this invitation, you have made me member of a club, Gatekeepers of Igbo Culture. And as gatekeepers, we are bound to uphold our culture. If we fail, we run the risk of having the younger generation, our children and grandchildren, clueless on their Igbo identity. They run the risk of losing the identity race in a globalized and multicultural world. My name is Pauline Ada Owakwe, Associate Professor in the Department of English, North Carolina A&T State University, Greensboro. My presentation titled Re-Envisioning Igbo Woman Being in the 21st Century establishes the significance of woman as the nucleus of Igbo family, medium of cultural continuity and human regeneration. Following women's social, economic, and political trajectory from pre-colonial Igbo society to the modern context, I examine the changes in conceptions of the roles of Igbo woman. I argue that while in the modern post-colonial context, education, westernization, and globalization have exerted major shifts in the conceptions of womanhood and condition of woman. Woman being the female essence remains the same. I assert that the modern Igbo woman can regenerate the functional female essence and employ the legacies of foremothers to advance the welfare and future of the Igbo nation. I insert the Igbo woman in her original spaces of agency with the potentials of empowering her as a transformative force in the modern context. I wish I could make this presentation to you in my mother tongue. Regrettably, greeting in Igbo and switching to English is a balancing act that we have to do of necessity, not by choice. We have chosen the way of modernity, a path that our colonial history carved for us. As we follow diligently on that path, we're losing the vestiges of our tradition on the way. We turn around and wonder, where did we start this journey? Where are we? Who are we? We wonder where the landmarks are that have guided us so far. If we cannot communicate fluently in our language, who are we turning out to be? Here comes the problem of identity that we are continually challenged by at home, among our own people, and in the diaspora, wherever Igbo people are found. Our language has been excised. Our colonial national language has disrupted our Igbo lexicon. Often we hear things like spell oramanya, jiderem cup, doing a table, Ghana kitchen. What people call Inglibo has become our mother tongue. Igbo, neither here nor there. Need it be so? We ask. Leaving this aside for now, I'm talking about a related matter, about Igbo woman being, the female essence in Igbo cosmology. What is Igbo woman being? I will attempt a definition and also let this unique phenomena and her status in traditional Igbo society speak to her essence. My task is to reveal what I call the legacies of strength and activism that continue to define Igbo woman. I'm re-envisioning what is traditionally conceived and believed to be nucleus and heartbeat of the Igbo family by excavating some anthropological details about women. What is woman being in the Igbo context? My search for the word woman reveals that the word woman is an adult female person. A scientific definition from an online biology dictionary shows woman to be, quote, an individual of the sex which conceives and brings forth young, or which has an ovary and produces ova. This is woman as defined in biological terms. Then I look for womanhood, which is defined as the state or condition of being a woman. or bearing, quote, qualities considered to be natural to or characteristic of a woman. What are those qualities? I searched further and I found this. What true womanhood is not. Now I was very curious. Real women are not wimpy, I'm quoting, passive, inferior, or weak. True women are not crass, loud, rebellious, pushy, or controlling. Real women do not have to prove their worth to the world because their identity is found in the person of Jesus Christ, unquote. Various conceptions of womanhood exist. There is, however, a general understanding among the Igbo that biology defines woman, and socialization becomes then the process of turning a woman into a true woman. Thus, gender and socialization go hand in hand. This is the crux of long-standing feminist debates. Being female and woman are biological and social acculturation processes. Woman in the Igbo society bears the expectations ascribed to her gender. Speaking on the issue, Nyobong Uko points out that while the characteristics associated with womanhood may be recognized globally, womanhood and its definition is culturally bound and location specific. However, scrutinizing woman being what I perceive to be the female essence that transcends mere physical characteristics of woman, recognized in Igbo society as a powerful phenomenon. I assert woman being to be the empowering female essence that complements and affirms women's access to and control over significant spheres of Igbo social, economic, political, and spiritual lifeways, including the land and the earth. Interestingly, woman being expresses itself in every aspect of Igbo life. It is inscribed as conduit of power, regeneration, and as the nucleus of Igbo family and society, just as the nucleus controls and regulates the activities of the cell and carries the genes, structures that contain the hereditary information. I will examine this essence from 5 elemental areas of Igbo life: family, community, economic, political, and spiritual, and also share glimpses of woman being in pre-colonial Igbo society through our classic Things Fall Apart. From a literary standpoint, Achebe's Things Fall Apart has become everyone's go-to text in the study of pre-colonial Igbo society. Umuofia provides us with keen insights to woman being in action as is portrayed in the status of the head goddess Annie. The female essence is expressed in a female deity on which the community depends for survival. This affirms women's status and spiritual role in this community. This is the most obvious connection of woman to land. The goddess Annie presides over the community, Umuofia, in her role as nurturer and moral compass. The village is secure in her abundance and celebrates her munificence during important feast days. Further, balance in duality, gender complementarity are marked characteristics of Umuofia society, especially in the religious sphere, where a male serves as priest of the female deity, the head goddess, and a female Chielo serves as the priestess of Abala, the oracle of the hills and the caves. An article, The Paradox of Woman Being and the Female Principle in Igbo Cosmology by Fanuel Egejuru is very critical to my articulation of the sense of woman being. This female principle is concretized in the term Wanyi Buife, a name that reinforces woman's all-embracing roles in Igbo society. However, I employ Wanyi Buife here in a positive light, knowing well enough that the term has paradoxically also come to signify on the woman as something less worthy in value. Wanyi Buife, woman is something. What is something? Something is earth. Something is water. Something is earth. Something is mother. What is mother? Mother is life. Mother is rearing. Mother is protection. Mother is love. Mother is chi. Mother is supreme. Woman being is expressed in motherhood, the female essence, and functions as a regenerative principle and preservative agent. I also posit here that her connection to land and earth places her at the center and as a powerhouse of family and community. Land and earth are both symbols of human sustenance, and woman's connection to the earth has provided her a space of agency. Traditionally also, Igbo women have exercised control in family and community in Igbo life. They have domains of influence that included economic, political, and spiritual spheres. Notably, land is central to all these domains. Family, connected to land and earth. Community is connected to land and market. Spiritual is connected to land and justice. Political, connected to land and equity. I focus on land and earth as two parallel sides of human sustenance in the sphere of women's influence. Land and earth perform complementary roles and represent sides of abundance, nurturance, cultural transmission, and regeneration. The earth, also known as usekwu, is a defining feature of the Igbo household, both symbolically and practically, and the earth belongs to the woman. To use kitchen here is a misnomer because the word kitchen does not effectively carry the weight or import of the Igbo word. Abundance of the land is prepared at the earth. The mother's closeness to the earth translates to the good welfare and sustenance of family. Usekwu served as a space for negotiating equity and justice within the household or the community. Igbo women may choose to, quote, sit on a man in the quest for justice for themselves or their fellow women. Women have also collectively expressed veto power for stability and order within their families or community from their domains of influence. The earth, therefore, constitutes an important and traditional side of conjugal dynamics. Cultural transmission has taken place at the earth. The woman's earth has preserved lives for centuries and maintained generational continuity. In the usekwu or earth, a woman prepares nourishment for family. Marriage confers rights of ownership to usekwu. A daughter may either inherit her earth from her mother-in-law or establishes her earth on her marriage. As place, usekwu is defined by its accessories. A daughter begins her earthhold life as wife or potential mother with accessories bequeathed to her by her mother. In the traditional setting, what is a woman's usekwu without mortar and pestle, for instance? New brides assume roles in the family relative to their closeness or knowledge around the hearth. Can she cook, sweep, maintain a home? Modernity has, however, transformed the accessories of this side of Igbo woman's agency. Not too long ago, a popular Igbo language primer for elementary schools captured the Igbo woman's cultural role in very clear rhythmic language. Nne no n'usekwu, Ada no n'usekwu, Nne na Ada no n'usekwu, Nne na Ada no n'usekwu na-esi nri, Nne na Ada no n'usekwu na-eri nri ha siri. This Igbo language lesson for children asserts the central role of woman being in Igbo society and culture. Certainly, cultural transmission goes on around the hearth. Mother teaching daughter, passing on the tools and strategies for preserving another future family in a cycle of existential continuity. Like a relay race, so it goes on in grandmotherly, motherly, daughterly cycle. Mother and daughter in a complementary relationship catering to the well-being and survival of the whole. It's notable that this mother and her daughter are cooking and eating, but not alone. In the background are other mouths to feed. That is the truth about mothers and women in general. As our elders say, O women Allah, it is the tradition. In family matters, Nkiru Nzogu speaks about, quote, a strong maternal ethos of Igbo families, stating thus, by understanding the constituent parts of the Igbo family and centering the ideology of motherhood, we're able to see the understated sources of power and channels of influence of Igbo women. In the past, The convergence of these channels on their mother had checked the development of patriarchal force by significantly curtailing the rights of fathers and husbands over daughters and wives, unquote. Zewu questions what she sees as the unwarranted insertion of Western feminist notions of family onto the Igbo culture, noting that it has created gaps in research in understanding or views of Igbo family today. Colonial disruptions of gender balance and erosion of women's political institutions is captured in Chinua Achebe's timeless statement as, quote, where the rain began to beat us. Where did the rain begin to beat Igbo women? The idea that colonialism reshaped Igbo cultural landscape into a gendered one is shared by several scholars, historians, sociologists alike, who maintain that colonial customary laws legalized rights of men through a calculated reinforcement of those rights to the detriment of women's rights. Gloria Chukwu in Igbo Women and Political Participation in Nigeria reveals that in pre-colonial Igbo society, gender hierarchy was non-existent. Rather, balance of power devolved laterally rather than vertically, and that colonial administration disrupted balance of power in their bid to create an administrative system that worked for their own agenda. Quote. She notes that women's roles among the Igbo could better be understood by examining their status before colonial disruption and after colonialism. Igbo women's ability to rise to the occasion in terms of war and crisis or resist inequities and social injustices have also been documented in historical and sociological studies of the Igbo society. The 1929 Women's War was essentially motivated by threats to the sphere of women's influence. It succeeded because of the agency, resilience, determination of women's groups. Other documented encounters between Igbo women and colonial administration include 1916 demonstrations over the colonial control of marketplaces. Another, the 1925 Nwabela movement to restore societal order and preserve Igbo heritage. These are just a few examples. Women's roles beyond the hearth links them to a cash crop-based economy, a sector where they have also prevailed and played important roles among the Igbo. Women control the economy through strong women's associations. They control local markets, trading, farming, weaving, and gain status and titles among women and peers. Their influence cut across their marital and natal homes. Through pressure groups such as the Umuada or the Ndom, women have exerted checks and balances within a gendered society to maintain social mores, ensure gender balance and equity. The Nigeria-Biafra War showcased Igbo women in action that have inspired many literary work by both Nigerian male and female writers. We need not look far for novels on the war by Igbo women. Depictions in literary works showcase women in the military, in food production, serving in the land army, women running a network of sensitive trading across enemy lines. So, where did the myth of subservience, docility, and timidness come from if Igbo women have all along presided over the very thing that sustains our society, families, and stability, one might question. The modern context, re-envisioning human being as catalyst of development. Education, modernity, westernization, globalization have caused major shifts in Igbo conceptions of womanhood. For example, the criteria for marriage and expectations for ladies and gentlemen too have certainly changed. These shifts have also impacted women's traditional sites of power, i.e. their preserved to land, hearth, their belonging to women's collective associations. Further, the hearth as physical place has changed configuration. Wives can neither claim sole ownership to the hearth, the kitchen, nor can she negotiate effectively in that space, as in sitting on a husband by denying nourishment, for example. Eating places and restaurants abound in every nook and cranny of our communities where a husband's hunger could be assuaged. What then has woman being become in the 21st century? How can we begin to regenerate woman being in Igbo women, cloaked as it were in her modernity in the global dispensation? What constitutes Igbo womanhood today has certainly changed. Igbo women's identities may be underexplored, but what she has become or is becoming in our current dispensation is an important subject of inquiry. Globalization has certainly impacted our culture, mutated it, and produced new women wearing new Igbo-Politan identities. Spaces have changed, kinship ties are reconfigured. One need not have blood ties to be uncle or auntie. Obviously, in our modern context, women's activities that are connected with the traditional usekwu are undervalued in line with the disarticulation effects of globalization. I searched the internet for an image depicting the traditional usekwu, but without success. I was, however, surprised by what I found. Several usekwu Igbo now dominate the web, hot culinary websites that provide how-to manual on Igbo cuisine and recipes from ofe nsala to ofe akwu and so on. The dynamism of the Igbo woman has taken her afar. Usekwu has been re-envisioned in digital terms. Igbo women have reinvented the hearth. They have extended its boundaries. They have mobilized the essence of the earth in new ways and in new times. They have re-establish the primal connection to land and earth in other ways to continue the work of cultural regeneration. I assert that the essence of woman being still thrives in our modernity and can be reconfigured to cater to the interests of 21st century Igbo society. How might we re-envision this essence to recenter her as a powerhouse of the Igbo nation? How might we apply the essence of woman being to preserving the future? How can we walk through our modernity while touching base with the essence of woman being? Can we excavate those sides of our foremothers' agency, borrow usable strategies from the past to transform, renew our present lives, families, community, nation? In Igbo land today, brother, kills mother, kills father, kills siblings in perpetual cycle of violence and bloodletting. There used to be a saying that a kinsman never sheds blood of another. How can we bring back our foremothers' agency by situating Igbo woman being as a moral compass? We can re-envision Igbo woman acting and performing in that role, resisting, curbing injustice and inequality. If colonialism disarticulated us, should we also let westernization and modernity derail us from our identity and center? There is need to go back to roots, to excavate legacies and reassess the empowering spaces of woman being. We can appropriate the symbolism of the hearth to fulfill its original role in new setting and context. We can reactivate Igbo women's collective usekwu or headhold in the service of the Igbo people as a site of value that will showcase women sustaining life and making Igbo land great again. Nne and Ada are still connected to land and earth, but in other ways. Nne and Ada have been refashioned by modernity and by their place in a globalized world. Nne and Ada are professionals in every sphere of intellectual achievement. They have changed and adapted to the times. The hearth has inevitably transformed to accommodate other participants in a gendered but complementary way. It is no longer an exclusive place for women. Marriage, wifehood, motherhood are no longer exclusive criteria of ownership or belonging to the hearth. The boundaries of membership to the hearth are blurred as women engage in career and employment outside home. However, its traditional symbolism as primary site of activism, cultural transmission, and economic transformation still offers value. I envision Igbo women as keepers of a global hearthhold. envision a women's headhold operating as a site of nurturance and regeneration for the sustenance of the whole. Women appropriating the agency of the earth as our foremothers did as a base for equipping the next generation. Just as Igbo women have traditionally controlled the earth for survival of group and lineages, exercise checks and balances for equity and justice through women's political associations, even so do I envision Igbo women's global earthhold to function in the interest of Igbo society. It will be a headhold on a rescue mission, as it were, responsible for uplifting and equipping our daughters, mothers, sons, and husbands too. It will be an exclusive global headhold with opportunities for improving our land economically, educationally, politically, medically, in every sphere of life. In the Igbo Women's Hall of Fame, we have many, including Dr. Ngozi Okonjo-Iweala, most recently, who was confirmed as the first African woman to lead the World Trade Organization as director. Indeed, Dr. Okonjo-Iweala has set the pace. She occupies a site in which Igbo women have traditionally held sway, excelled, and supported families and communities. In the economics of growing wealth, Igbo woman being remains the female principle of resilience, dynamism, and industry. Let's put her to work for the people in the 21st century and beyond. Thank you. Ndewo.